Welcome to Stamp with Gail Digital. I'm Gail Washoe, and today I'm going to show you how to make a twist and pop card. We're going to focus on how to make the mechanism. So what do you say we get started? These are two Halloween cards that I made, and when you open them up, you see the twist and pop. The mechanism is made with two different pieces of paper, and the trick is the way it's folded. But today, we're going to focus on making a Thanksgiving card. I actually am using this card for a thank you card for a very good friend of mine. All the images that you see here were purchased and downloaded from the Silhouette Design Studio store. And there's a link down below, but we'll talk more about this a little bit later. So now what we're going to do is we're going to want to cut some cardstock. I use 8.5 by 11, either 65, 80, or 100 weight cardstock. Cut your cardstock lengthwise at 4 1/4. Make a quarter turn and score your cardstock at 5 1/2. That gives you a base card of 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Next, you want to take some pattern paper and you want to make 4 rectangles. You're going to cut the pattern paper at 5 by 3 3/4. Then you want some solid paper, cardstock, and I use black. And you're going to make 3 rectangles at 5 1/4 by 4. You're going to adhere by centering the pattern paper onto the solid cardstock of all 3 pieces and adhere that to your card, both on the outside of the card, on the front, on the inside, both the top and the bottom. Next, we're going to make the mechanism. You'll need 2 pieces of cardstock. I like to use black, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use white. The cardstock you want to cut is going to be 10 inches by 2 1/2. And you'll score one of the pieces 2 1/2, 5, and 7 1/2. Now you're going to take the other strip, which is your mechanism, and you're going to score it at 5 inches, right down the middle. You're going to hold it horizontally and score at 5 inches. Then you're going to turn it and you're going to score at 1 1/4 inches. That will be down the middle, the vertical side. 1 1/4. Then 5 inches. Now, in order to make that triangle you see in the middle, that X, what you want to do is take that center fold line and you're going to pull it up and you're going to meet the other fold line that goes across, just like that. Then you're going to turn it over to make sure that all the lines meet on both sides before you burnish it. Turn it over. Make sure the vertical line meets with the horizontal line. Then crease it very well. Then you're going to want to turn it over, turn it around, and you're going to want to do the other side to get the other side of the X. So you're going to pull up that middle score line, match it with the horizontal line, turn it over, make sure those lines meet on the back, and then burnish. You're going to make a valley fold, push the triangles upward, and fold it closed. Then you're going to want to take a little snip off the top. Make sure it's burnished very well. The more that it's burnished, the easier it is to fold. Don't forget to take a little snip off the top. So now we're going to go to the other piece that we already scored. Now I have mine ready in black. And we're going to want to round all the corners. So what I do is I round 2 at a time. So I fold one square in on the other and round the corner. Then I fold the next square so that I'm rounding 2 squares at one time and round the corners. And now one more time, fold that in and round each corner. And then what's left are the 2 ends. So you're going to open it up and you're going to score the end on both sides, not score it, you're going to round the corner on both ends. So what you're left now is that every square, all 4 of them are rounded every corner. Now we're going to go back to the mechanism. We're going to take the center fold and we're going to cut upward. We're just going to clip the corner off so that it doesn't get stuck when it folds in and out. So just center fold, clip upwards. Then we're going to flip it around and we're going to do the same thing again on the diagonal point on the corner and just snip from the fold line. Now you're going to valley fold the center down. And then you're going to push those triangles up. Now we're going to take 4 pieces of pattern paper. And I use a contrasting paper to the paper that I'm using for the front of my card. And I corner punch all of them so each one is rounded to match the strip. Then I use my runner tape to adhere them onto the card. So now what we're going to do is we're going to attach the mechanism to the card. So again, valley fold down, push the triangles up. Make sure you clip the tip, just a tiny bit of the tip off. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to do it again for you here. It looks really easy, it just takes a little practice. We're going to adhere that to the middle of the card, right just a hair below the crease in the card. So I'm going to take my black mechanism and I'm going to put glue on the triangle. I'm going to use my finger to burnish the glue to move it all around, and you want to use a really strong glue or good glue, not a glue stick. Or you can use a very strong double-sided tape. And I'm going to adhere that right down in the middle, almost against that fold line of the card. And then I'm going to push it down and make sure that it's really glued down well. It's real important that that's glued really well so that it doesn't fall apart when you open and close it. Now I'm going to put glue on this top of the triangle, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use my finger, and I'm going to smear it all around from edge to edge. And I'm going to make sure I cover the entire triangle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the top of the card down right on top of the mechanism, and it will center it just perfect on the card. Then I'm going to take a paper clip, or you can also use, sometimes I use a plastic clothespin, and you're going to clip it shut and just set it aside for a minute or 2 to make sure it dries very well. Now we're going to talk about what I use to adhere the embellishments to the card. Okay, I use two types of pop-ups. I use foam pop-ups, and the reason for that is they squish flat on the card to make sure they get in the envelope. And the other is I use fun foam. And you can find fun foam in any craft store. And I cut the fun foam to the size that I need. This sheet was originally 11, I think it was a 12 by 17. And I use runner tape to adhere it. I've tried glue and it just doesn't work as well for me. It takes too long to dry. So I use a runner tape to adhere the foam to the back of the embellishment and to adhere it to the card. Now for the top of the acorns, the leaves on the pumpkins and the little sunflower, what I use is that Nuvo glaze. I've tried other glazes and they always stick to the top and clog it. I end up throwing them away. Nuvo glaze works the best. So what I did is I printed out two of the same picture and I cut out the smaller part of the pumpkin to pop it on top of the large pumpkin. And then I used those foam pop-ups underneath it. So it squishes down and it doesn't make the envelope bulky. Now I put the Nuvo there on the leaves and on the flower and pop the flower up too. Now on the sentiment, what I used was the fun foam on the back. All the embellishments that you see on my card were all digital images that I downloaded from Silhouette Design Studio. And you can download their free software to use those images at no cost. Then you print and then you would hand cut out the images. Or, like me, you can go buy a Silhouette machine and it will cut for you. But all the details with a link below, you can check it out. So I hope you enjoyed my card today. And if you'd like to see more videos, please subscribe below. And check out my webpage, which is stampwithgaildigital.com. Thanks for joining me today. See you later.